Hello, and welcome to Unity in Naperville's live streaming service. My name is Rhonda Pignato, and I'm going to be the service leader today. If you are new to us, thank you for checking us out. We are here every Sunday morning at 10:45. We are a spiritual community, and we're here to give you a spiritual message and hopefully enrich your day to something that you can carry into your week. Our minister here is Reverend Kitty Benson, and she will be up here shortly. She will be giving the opening prayer and the message, and today we're going to be diving into prosperity for the new year. I'm excited to hear all about it. And the way to get to prosperity is to lift our thoughts, right? We're trying to lift them way up. And one way we try to lift our thoughts and lift our spirits is through music here at Unity in Naperville. And we have a fantastic music team. Highest Good. They're right here to my right. Welcome, Highest Good. They have some fantastic music planned for you, and the first song is meant to help us get way up, right, Kim Shar?
Yes, indeed.
So sit back and listen and just let your spirit soar.
Here we go. Good morning, everyone. Join along, words should be on the screen. Way up, higher, way up, here we go. Way up, before I know it, I am rising to new horizons. Way up, higher, way up, here I go. Way up, before I know it, another level. I am ready to rise, 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 rise. I cut the ropes, fear is falling from me. I am beginning to fly, 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 fly. Way up, higher, way up, here I go. Way up, before I know it, another level. I am ready to rise, 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 rise. I cut the ropes, fear is falling from me. I am beginning to fly, 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 fly. Way up, higher, way up, here I go. Way up, before I know it, before I know it, I am rising to new horizons. Way up.
Way up. That's where we want to be today, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I almost feel like I should have y'all sit down. Normally, this is my time when I open up in prayer, and there's been a lot going on for me personally and for our congregation this week and for our country as well. And I know that many of you are feeling at a loss as to how to move forward, how to feel safe. Many hearts are broken this week, and I just want you to join with me in prayer now to see if we can allow that everywhere present nature of God to calm and soothe our souls. So will you just join me by closing your eyes for a few moments and taking a deep breath. And as we feel that air moving through our lungs, we remember this is the breath of God breathing us. And that as our hearts and minds are seeking to know what is real, what is true, we give thanks in this moment that the mind of God is real and true. That in this moment, God's thoughts can be our thoughts. And so we open our minds to the idea that wisdom and understanding flow freely into our awareness, that we may truly know what is ours to do. And as we may feel a sense of fear this morning about our own personal needs being met, we take a moment to remember through every breath, we are breathing the life and the very provision of God. That nothing and no one can stand between us and God's good. That in this moment we may rest and relax in the knowing that God's infinite provision is always available, not only for ourselves, but for all beings on the planet. We allow this time in the quiet to allow God to be God in and through each one of us. We let go of the need to control others, to be like we are, and instead allow the love of God to pour through our hearts, to accept one another as we are. And as we offer that love and allowing, we know we make a way for God's good to flow through us and as us, and through all beings. And in this knowing of wisdom and love, we now may breathe in a deep sense of peace, that God is the only presence and power in our life, and that we have nothing to fear. And so in this place of quiet, a deep awareness of God's presence, I invite you to open your eyes and speak this invocation with me, knowing that these words are the words that empower us to live in peace with one another. It's the words that allow us to experience God's infinite good and to be God's unlimited love. Let's say these words together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And so it is.
Love in the words I say, peace in the world I made, God in every breath I take, joy in my day, joy my day. Let's sing that verse again. Love in the words I say, peace in the world I made, God in every breath I take, joy in my day, joy in my day. We are lifted up.
Joy in our day. You know, this past week, a week ago Sunday, thank you to Michael and Mary Beth Spear for being present in my place. And I went to be with my mom, who made her transition last Sunday. And I won't talk too long about that because I'll cry. So just thanks to all of you for your love. And this song that we just sang, Joy in Our Day, you know, it's kind of hard to feel that unless we understand where that joy comes from. So many of you got to watch TV this week and see events unfolding in our capital that scared you, that angered you, that maybe some of you felt like, you know, high time. I don't really know. But I know that right now the energy in our country feels very heavy. And we lost other loved ones this week, so I know that there's a lot of hearts hurting for a lot of different reasons. And for weeks now, I have planned on speaking about prosperity today. And you may think, well, you're a little off track, Kitty, for what's going on in our hearts right now. But I'm going to challenge you to take these ideas that I offer you today and apply them to what's going on. Because a lot of times when we think of the word prosperity, we associate it with money or wealth of some kind, you know, stuff, material goods. But the whole point of this message about prosperity is to realize that that is not what prosperity is from a spiritual perspective. And truly, all of our prosperity comes out of the spiritual perspective first. And today, the reason I've chosen today to do this message is because it's been 40 days since we started the 40-day prosperity program. And hopefully many of you have checked out our website at unitycommunityconnect.com, and there's a channel in there called 40-Day Prosperity, where we posted some handouts and some audio and some video for you to use to begin to look at prosperity in a new way. And that it was a challenge to offer your daily attention to reading spiritual principles about prosperity, and then meditating on them and thinking about them and writing out notes or thoughts that come to you so that you begin to change your consciousness about prosperity. Because we know in Unity that we create in our life what our consciousness is. So that's where our life begins, is in our hearts, in our minds, in our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs. And so I wanted to share from John Randolph Price these spiritual teachings, this 40-day program, because it is a powerful way to shift your consciousness about the good in your life. And some of the key ideas that he was offering to us was to shift away from outer material goods, our jobs, our income, our 401k, our Social Security, people as our source of supply, and instead become completely present to the gift of God as our source, as our supply. You know, I was raised believing that if I were good, God would bless me by giving me things. But what I've come to believe in my adult years is that God is giver, but God is the gift too. And what I mean by that is everything that you might ask God for begins as God, as spiritual energy, and then becomes our daily bread, our supply. And until we can change our focus and see that God is the presence that becomes our good, as well as the life in our bodies, as well as the love in our relationships and the wisdom in our thinking, then we just find ourselves dependent on temporary things and limited things that come and go and we can't always count on, right? So what we focused on in this 40-day prosperity challenge was to remember who our true source of good is. There's only one, and it's God. And that part of the prosperity process is to let go of our need of controlling what we own or what we're trying to get, and instead just allow God to be God in and through us. To realize that there is only one source, and that no matter what the outer supply looks like, what the economy looks like, what people are doing or saying in the world, that our good, and that doesn't mean just money, our good, our well-being is the presence of God, living in and through and as us. And so after this 40 days, I reached out to people who have been in the process of the program and asked them to give me some feedback. I asked them, first of all, why they did the program. And up here on the screen, some of the things that they said was they wanted to be more disciplined about how they focused on not only prosperity, but on spirit. They wanted to increase their spiritual consciousness of prosperity. There were some that said that they wanted to learn how to stop depending on people and other things in the outer realm to provide their good. And there was one that said, I have resources available to me. I just want to feel free to use them without feeling like, feeling guilty or feeling like I might be running out when I use my resources. And so I asked our friends what they learned in the program, and some of the things that they said was that their entire perception of spirit changed, that they began to see God as the source, not as a giver of gifts on your doorstep, but that it's actually the presence of God expressing within and through them internally, feeling the internal sense of prosperity within them that they learned. They certainly learned a lot by becoming more disciplined in their meditations on a daily basis. They noticed how their thoughts about the day changed because they chose to set a specific time every morning to start their day in connection with their source of good. And someone mentioned how important it was to not just read a statement, but to meditate on it, to think about it, to write out their thoughts about it, and to do that on a regular basis in order to see results in their consciousness. Now, when I asked them about their challenges, of course, you could imagine, the deal was you do this for 40 days. You read these statements, you meditate on them, you write about them, a different one every day for 10 days, and then you start over again, and you do that 4 times. And if you miss a day, you have to start over again, counting your 40 days. And a lot of people groan when they hear that and maybe don't even want to approach this. But my opinion about that is, if you miss a day and you start again, hallelujah. That this is about not just a 40-day program. This is about a lifelong change in consciousness that we must work on a regular basis. So even if you miss a day or a week, start again, start again. Someone else talked about how they felt like some of the principles that were teaching about prosperity were kind of wordy and it was hard for them to remember. So one person actually wrote out her own shorter affirmations to use throughout the day, and Mary Zadrozny's been kind enough to let us post those. So I'm going to put those up this week in the 40-Day Prosperity channel in case that will help support you. All of the materials are still there. I'm reading them aloud so you can loop them and listen to them for as long as you want. Kim Char helped us put that together. Danette helped us put together some visual slides for you to look at, and the statements themselves are still there. The real thing that mattered to me was, how did you benefit from this? How did you connect with spirit? What kind of spiritual experiences did you have? And many people mentioned that they felt much more deeply connected to God through this experience. They became more aware of the presence within them and all around them. It was easier for them to keep their mind on spirit on a daily basis and throughout the day, and that helped people feel more balanced in their life. There was one person who talked about how their blood pressure lowered because they stayed on this program. Somebody else talked about they noticed an inflow of new ideas coming in, and they were finding answers to questions that they'd had for a long time suddenly coming forward for them. One that made me laugh was a couple who picked up their online order of groceries, and when they got home, they found out they'd been gifted an extra package of chicken. And one of them said, "Man, why couldn't it have been an extra package of donuts?" Well, it turns out their neighbor brought over pastries, I think the next day or within a few days. So what they were finding was the ease of flow in their life as they were committed to this idea of changing their consciousness. I asked if they noticed any difference in their emotions, and there was a feeling of peace, of calm, of relief, that they realized how close God was, how God was expressing within them, and they didn't have anything to fear. Somebody that felt happier because they were learning to just let go and let God, and they no longer needed to control their outcomes or figure out how to make these experiences of prosperity happen in their life. But overall, the prosperity consciousness that I was hearing about was an awareness that we no longer have to look outside ourselves to check to see where the stock market is or the unemployment rate is, but instead they realized that the goodness, the fullness, the presence of God's infinite substance was their constant and abiding source of good. So what I see this 40-day program being is the first step in a daily lifestyle of prosperity consciousness that was meant to develop our faith. Our faith, something that Charles Fillmore said about faith up here on the screen was, faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. And I know when people first read that, they kind of go, I don't get that, so let me talk a little bit about it. Faith is the perceiving power, which means when you look at the world and you give it meaning and you interpret it, how do you interpret it? What do you believe about it? And when we have true spiritual faith, our faith is to look out at the world and realize there's only God as the presence and power in my life. So that's what the 40-day program was about, was to establish a deep knowing that God is my only source and God is infinite and God is good. And then the second part of that, linked with the power to shape substance, once you get into that consciousness of God is good, then you just freely are able to create your daily bread as needed because you know that your supply never runs out. But it really does depend on establishing a consciousness of God as your source. And John Randolph Price wrote in his book, The Abundance Book, about how this program was meant to change your perception even of money. Now, we know that prosperity is not just money, but many people think it is. So he said, let's look at money. And he came up with this acronym of money, that money is my own natural energy yield. Now, that's a fun one to meditate on. Now, he talks about this. Let me say what he says about this. Money is my very essence, which when properly expressed, returns to me as an all-sufficiency of legal tender to use in exchange for goods and services. When you express your natural energy in alignment with divine mind, you yield a return in the form of visible supply. So if we go back to the beginning of that quote, money is my very essence. I'm gonna reword that a little bit just to be clear. Your essence is spirit. It's not money. But money is a representation or a symbol of the kind of essence you are living from, what your consciousness is. And so, if he says, when properly expressed, when our essence is being properly expressed, that's when God's good returns to us in all sufficiency. So this properly expressed is about faith in God as our source, infinite good. My own natural energy yielded what I'm getting back on my investment. When I invest my own natural energy as a consciousness that believes only in God as my source, then I yield that which is my daily bread in a visible way. So money is just one of the symbols of our own natural energy. The question is, how is your energy working? Now, he has several other steps in his book, The Abundance Book, beyond this 40-day program. He really felt like that's just the first step. You establish this consciousness through meditation, And then the next thing you do is you use your power of visualization. In Unity, we talk about that as our power of imagination, to picture in our mind something that we want to express in our lives. And his version of this is something that I think we need right now. Not just to experience prosperity, but to experience all of God's good. Think of, in this visualization, and we'll go through this in our meditation today, but think, first of all, about that presence of spirit within you as a presence of light. You know, in the beginning, God created, and the first thing he created was light. So let's think about that presence of light within us as God, infinite, and that its nature is good, its nature is abundance, its nature is love. And that presence of light within us is not contained just in our body. So in this visualization, you imagine that light going out beyond your body because you are choosing to send it out with your consciousness. So you imagine sending that divine light, which is really infinite in nature, like a field that moves out through your city, your state, your country, your world, and touches and infiltrates and connects with all other beings. And as that light is going out from you, it is carrying the essence of God's goodness into every other heart. Your desire is good for them. Can you think about that this week? Can you think about how much we need that in our world right now? Is that our desire is for God's good to spread out around this planet, that you are consciously choosing to send it out to touch every heart, to fill every need, to bring God's good into visible supply in their lives. And as you feel that connection to one another, what you're doing is creating a bridge between you and all beings. And realize that that bridge is not only for you to share God's light with the world, but for God's light to come back to you. First as that invisible spiritual substance, but then as spiritual and then material supply. You know, one of the things that we say here is that people are not our source, but people are channels for our source of God. And so we make that bridge of light between us so that we can be receptive to the prosperity that God wants to bring us. But it must be a connection of love and a desire for well-being for all beings, not just ourselves. We'll practice that later today, but let me share a quote from Peter Baska, who describes it in his way. He's a spiritual writer, and this was on HuffPost.com. He said, "The universe acts in dynamic reciprocal," think circulation. "Nothing stands still. The flows of our life situation, money, romance, our health, are all mirrors of our flow of energy in harmonious interaction with our field of existence. Our bodies, our minds, our thoughts are all in constant and dynamic exchange with the forces of the universe. We are able to accelerate or maintain this exchange by giving exactly what it is we wish to receive." Our current life experience is a mirror of what our essence is. What is your essence? Right now, besides holding that visualization, we want to include that energy, that intensity, that spirit of God's divine love. And we want to make sure that that is the dominant essence of our being. In truth, as spiritual beings, as extensions of God, that is your natural essence, love. However, we merge with a body and a brain and an ego that often gets in the way of that. And if we were to properly express our energy, as John Randolph Price had said, then it's about using our thoughts, our feelings, the words that we speak, the actions that we take with love. And in order to do that, it means that as we're speaking and thinking and feeling, we're doing it from a conscious awareness that God is the only power and presence in my life, so that we can be that love. We can allow that love to express. Now, if you're in an energetic space right now where you feel like your life is stagnant or limited or angry or resentful or fearful, just realize that you have put up kind of a blockade to that bridge of light that is waiting to bring you your prosperity of all good, but cannot as long as our essence, our energy, is unlike God's love. And I know that's a tall order, especially with everything that's going on in our world right now. It's a tall order. But it must be done for healing. It must be done for the flow of God's good to touch every heart on our planet. And if you can't get there immediately with the people that you're struggling with, then I invite you to get there with the people that you love. Start by thinking of those who you can trust, who you know care about you, and feel that appreciation for them until that energy becomes so full in you that you can now turn and look at the person who you're struggling with and share it with them, remembering that there is nothing that can get between you and God's good. And so you are free to love. As a matter of fact, love is the healing agent that will transform what everyone is experiencing right now into something of light. Love is the gate opener on your bridge of divine prosperity. And it's what allows us to attract that divine supply into the state of form in our life. Something that May Rowland wrote was, if you're not attracting the good that you desire in your life, learn to express love. Become a radiating center of love, and you will find that love, the divine magnet within you, will change your whole world. Excuse me. When you get into an energy of love, the next natural expression is gratitude. We become so thankful for the good that's around us. And we can purposely choose to do that as well, to look at God's beautiful planet that we live on, all the expressions of nature, and give thanks. Allow that to start to change your essence as well. To give thanks for the people in your life who love and support you. Give thanks for those who have provided for you, have served you. Give thanks for those solutions that you have received to life's problems. Man, of all things, this week, I come home and find out that my computer has a problem. I can't get any Wi-Fi. And it's a new computer, and I just thought, I went into the woe is me thing, as you can imagine. Woe is me. There's so many horrible things happening. Why does this have to be one more thing? I'm human too. And I wanted to imagine the worst because my last computer, I took it in and never saw it again. So it was natural for my human self to imagine the worst. But then I remembered that God is my source, and God's power and presence can do all things if I allow it, if I create a light bridge. So I was creating a light bridge between me and Best Buy, trusting that whatever the problem was, it was going to be easily solved. And I walked in. I only had to wait a couple minutes for them to serve me. And they tried one thing and solved the problem. Yay! I was in and out in 20 minutes. And I literally came out in the parking lot and started sobbing. Now, keep in mind, my mom had just died, so that was probably part of it. But I felt like the whole universe was there, like, to support me in this, because I had created a light bridge that said, I'm trusting, I'm giving my good to those around me and trusting that they can bring it back to me, knowing that my ultimate source is God, infinite good. So that was a joy for me this week. I've also learned that in order to maintain this prosperity consciousness, we have got to be mindful of our words. And I know that this week, more than most weeks in our life, we've had that opportunity to speak from either anger or fear. And our words are just a representation, a loud, audible representation of our energy. Remember that energy? That energy that needs to be that is aligned with God. Now, so many of you say, that's putting your head in the sand, Kitty, if you think we should start talking positively. And I would just say that if that's your understanding of the power of your words, then I'm just going to invite you to keep listening to what we teach here at Unity in Naperville, because it is our words that can change not only our situation, but it begins by changing our own energy. We use them on purpose, not to deny what's happening around us, but to change what's happening around us by reminding ourselves of who our true source is. We have to use our words to create that light bridge, to allow God to move not only through us as a channel, but to make channels available, not to come and go from us to us, etc., around the world, with the thought and the word that God is the only power and presence working in our lives. We can, and we have, given our power away this week to many different people. And that will not solve any of our problems. I feel like I'm shouting. Let me just dial it down a little bit. A prosperity consciousness is a consciousness of God as our good. No one in the political spectrum is the source of our good. And no one in the political spectrum has the power to rob you of your good. Prosperity consciousness remembers that God is our source of good, and I am a channel for that good, and I am choosing today to use words that speak God's power into existence, that speaks God's love and order and wisdom and courage and strength and beauty into existence. We need you as our essential light workers to do that. I'm getting passionate again. Let me just... So, we've talked about steps. We've talked about meditation. We've talked about visualization. We've talked about love, about gratitude, about our words. And once you start engaging in these levels of consciousness and action, you are guided to more right action in your life. It turns out that the decisions that you make about your life are healthier and higher in consciousness. Whether it's taking care of your body or your home or your family or your work life, you will find, as many of the people who attended this or participated in our program, you will find that your life is lifting up higher in all areas. It's about maintaining that order of putting God first, and then everything else, as Jesus said, seek first the kingdom, and all these details will take care of themselves. You'll find yourself more willing to take on the responsibilities that your heart is calling you into. You will find that it's time to start each day with an inner awareness of God instead of picking up your phone. How many of you do that? How many of you wake up and while you're still in bed, you grab for the iPad or the phone to check to see what the world is going to tell you how to think? Right action, prosperous consciousness, is about checking in with Spirit first and remembering the truth before we can then be a presence of that and experience that in our life. And ultimately, to be that channel for God's good, to give God's good away in your life. That is what a true prosperity consciousness expresses as, that you are God expressing. You are God giving. You are a channel for God's wisdom and love and material sources, resources, health. Your presence can be a presence of health for someone else just by being calm and peaceful with them. Something that Charles Fillmore, our co-founder of Unity, wrote was, "The privilege of giving carries immeasurable benefits with it, for it looses us from the personal life, unifies us with the universal, and thus opens our inner and outer life to the inflow and the outflow of the life, love, bounty, and grace of God." And I think that's what Jesus was saying from Luke chapter 6. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. With the energy, the essence, the consciousness that you live, you will receive in like kind. It's universal law, and the only one in control of that essence is you. So I'd like to take you back into meditation now, and let's just practice that visualization of light, shall we? If you'll just close your eyes with me and take another deep breath. Realizing the breath I breathe, I could not breathe were it not God breathing me. I allow my thoughts to drop down into my heart, where I connect with that presence. I feel that very essence of light, the very vibrant life within me. I imagine that divine light shining in every cell of my body, a light that loves, a light that gives. And knowing that light is God itself, I feel its essence spreading out beyond my body. And I direct that light with my own heart to move and spread beyond this building that I'm in, out into my city, my state, and my country, across the oceans and around the world. God's light in me, I am gifting to all beings. I am seeing each being, feeling God's presence of light, and feeling safe. I am seeing this vision of light touching every heart with the power of love. I'm seeing this vision of light raising every body into divine health and well-being. I am seeing this vision of light providing for every need with God's infinite good. I am seeing this vision of light blanketing the world with peace and calm. I feel this connection as a bridge of light from my heart to the hearts of all beings on this planet. And as I send my love and God's goodness as this divine light across this bridge to every being on the planet, I feel that light returning to me as God's unlimited good. That divine mind guides the right and perfect channels to bless my life. And that as that good flows back into my life, I see myself using it with love. With generosity, with gratitude. For God's light is my good. Thank you, God. Thank you for this bounteous good. I offer myself as a channel for this beauty and power, this love and wisdom, this supply and very essence of well-being into the world. So it is. Now I allow it to be. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Kitty. Wow, that was lovely. Now is the time in the service where you have an opportunity to create that bridge of love. This is where we share our tithes and our love offerings to support the spiritual community here at Unity in Naperville. There are various ways you can give. If you'd like to mail in your donation, you can do it at Unity in Naperville, P.O. Box 9733 in Naperville, Illinois, 60567. You can click the donate button that should be on your screen. Go to unityinnaperville.org and click to donate there. And as we step into within my own natural energy yield, I love that. Let us bless that offering as we give it in love, and we know in our hearts that that faith of abundance is all around us. The words are on the screen. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have and all that I give and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
In the last 9 months, even while our Unity building was closed and our services have been online only, our Board of Trustees have been meeting twice a month to oversee the well-being of our Unity community. And today, they'd like to share an update with you and introduce something very exciting. Besides myself, your trustees include Beth Schwartz, our president, Mary Beth Spears, our vice president, Susan Snowden is our treasurer, Melinda Buring is our secretary, Jeff Benoit and Gordon Herzog are both trustees, and we've also invited creative director Kim Char Meredith to share her thoughts today. And whether you're new to Unity or you've been a longtime member, thank you for taking these next few minutes to give them your attention.
In thinking back over 2020, you may be thinking, oh dear, what a year. Many of us have lived in isolation. We've endured health challenges, experienced job loss, or started homeschooling. Hardest of all, some of us have grieved the unspeakable loss of cherished family members and friends. And throughout this year, one of our most essential mainstays has been Unity in Naperville. Reverend Kitty has steered us through murky waters of uncertainty and inspired us to become essential light workers. Our chaplains have been consciousness on call. Our music team has raised our spirits and ignited our hope even in the darkest days.
We've learned to find our spiritual support and community by live streaming and using Zoom. Our Sunday services with Reverend Kitty and our Highest Good Band haven't missed a beat. Reverend Kitty and many other volunteers have discovered ways to carry on with important events and discussion groups that support our spiritual growth and help us to stay connected. We've enjoyed regular lunches together online, along with game nights and talent shows, creative writing, arts and crafts, spiritual energy work, and civil rights education, and spiritual education classes to strengthen our personal growth.
We still have a few months to go before we can reopen our building, but thanks to you and your generosity, Unity is still alive and fulfilling our mission. Your board is grateful to you for your ongoing support, which is helping us meet the challenges of our financial commitments.
I have the blessing of hearing from you how Unity has remained an important part of your lives. You've shared your gratitude for the inspiring messages, uplifting music, and peaceful meditations. Newcomers share how delighted they are to have found such a positive, progressive spiritual community, and many of you said you'd be lost without the Zoom room experience to stay connected with friends, and that within the Zoom experience, people are continually commenting on how they feel accepted as they are. Two of the most repeated comments that I hear are that you love our energy and enthusiasm, and that you're grateful for the practical tools that help you apply the spiritual principles. When you think about all that our country and the world are going through now, it's a gift to be able to offer such a positive, supportive, and comforting message as we fulfill our mission of personal growing and joyful knowing of our oneness with Spirit and each other.
When first sheltering in place and closing our church home, I thought it would be 4 to 6 weeks at the longest. It was really impressive to see how quickly Kitty, Kim Char, and Parker were able to start live streaming from their homes, Kitty from her bedroom. Our technology has continued to improve so that Unity in Naperville is now a model for other Unity ministries. And when other Unity churches can't provide live stream services, they're recommending Unity in Naperville's online service as a way to support them during the pandemic. We also began to hear from new viewers around the country who were looking for an online community to support their spiritual growth, and we're grateful to have found our live stream services and classes. When the music team was able to join Kitty and the tech team in our sanctuary again, and there was such a strong emphasis on our visual presentation, the board realized there was even more that we could do to support our growing live stream audience, as well as the Unity community we're looking forward to seeing again inside our building.
And so your board is here today to introduce a sort of new beginning as we set the intention to stretch and grow in ways we couldn't before. We would like to renew our space with a more contemporary, modern look that would better reflect our positive message. Something more bright and energized than the dark brown cinder block walls we see behind Kitty and Highest Good each Sunday. With a new stage design, we believe it will create a feeling of engagement, enthusiasm, and new excitement while we become more inviting to a broader online audience. Understanding we have as little as 5 seconds to capture someone's attention as they're scrolling online, the new staging will help draw interest and engagement as they learn about our powerful message, music, and other spiritual support. With the added features, our in-house congregation will benefit as well as when we return to our on-site services. We're calling this new endeavor Staging an Awakening World.
We've envisioned a new stage design that is fresh, functional, and flexible. Let's talk about fresh. It's a contemporary design. Black stage and black wall behind, with decorative framing and neutral colors surrounding the screen. Additional prop walls with added features and design will allow us to use multicolored lights and create different moods and highlight certain features. Functionality. The stage extends clear across the front wall. This allows for more presentations like the choir spreading out. We'll raise the band and all presenters higher so no one is hidden from view when the congregation stands. It's a very flexible design, prop walls are hinged and portable, and so we can bring an area into focus, create a smaller stage area right in the center. Areas behind those prop walls can be used for entry and exit points. This makes it so that we're able to rent space to small theater troupes or other groups who would find that useful. And did I mention the fabulousness of the LED lit logo? And to freshen up the rest of our space, this effort will also include painting the full sanctuary as well as the front half of our building.
We hope you'll agree that this design is as vibrant and innovative as our community is, not to mention our unity message. We believe its broad appeal will engage not only our current congregation, but a diverse spectrum of spiritual seekers. And while the design may look very modern, the heart of our Unity experience is just as warm and supportive as ever. Unity in Naperville has created a masterpiece here that continues to evolve, and this new stage design is really just new framing on that masterpiece, one that will support the vision of our painting, the Unity community itself.
When life doesn't go as planned, having a clear sense of purpose can guide your next steps. Our board's vision, Staging an Awakening World, is a clear step forward, and we're sure it brings great benefits. Our theme reflects not only a bright new stage design, but also supports Unity's vision. Centered in love, we celebrate the expression of God as peace, wisdom, abundance in this awakening world. Of course, this enterprise will require special funding, and today's presentation marks the beginning of our fundraiser for both building this fresh new space and finishing our fiscal year with a balanced budget. This will be our only fundraiser for the fiscal year that ends on March 31st. You'll be able to track our progress between now and the end of March with a digital puzzle on our website. Each time we raise a multiple of $1,000, we'll add a puzzle piece. When the project and budget is fully funded, the puzzle will be complete, showing a picture of our completed new stage design.
Are you ready to join in on the excitement? If you've benefited from any of the many offerings Unity has provided towards your spiritual growth, please consider helping us expand our vision of staging an awakening world. Our goal is to raise at least $14,000 to enhance our space and finish the year strong. We could meet that goal if everyone donated on average $175 sometime between now and March 31st. Please know that this would be over and above your current monthly giving to Unity's general fund. We know that may be a stretch for some of you, and that for others you could assist by giving even more. Any additional amount you're able to give will be gratefully received. We've created a special donation page on our website at unityinnaperville.org, or you can mail your check to P.O. Box 9733, Naperville, Illinois 60567. When sending checks, please note on your donation that it is for the stage. Our intention is to reveal the new space in April. I hope you're as excited as I am to see the puzzle pieces come together. Your board is so grateful for your loving support as we all join together in staging an awakening world.
Now, for those of you seeking the comfort of familiarity, let me assure you that though the design may be updated to align with our evolving message, we will always be sharing eternal truths that never change. And that's true about who we are, too. The space you'll see in April will still be surrounding the same warm hearts that you have always known. Kim Char, Highest Good, our Sunday teams, and I will all still be here bringing you our positive unity message, shared by the smiling faces and loving hearts that you know so well. And when we open our doors again, that will include you too. I just want to thank you so much for sharing in the caring of our Unity community with such loving and faithful support.
Can they see me now? You see this? You see this? Look, see that on the band's face? Yeah, lots of smiles up here. I come from the theater community. That's the first time I've seen this. And that design, oh my God,
Isn't that
that is
beautiful?
beautiful.
Exciting.
I saw a mock-up, I think I was seeing, but nothing like that. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I am so on board with this. I hope this excites some of you as much as it does me. Although I might kind of like that color like 10 years ago. I'm ready for a change. I'm ready for a change. I'm so excited about this. This is great. So let me get back to what we're doing up here. And it says announcement, smile. I got that covered. So good morning. Again, I'm going to be giving your announcements. My name is Rhonda Pignato. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I hope you got some excitement out of that as well, that we are a fresh, evolving community. I hope you like what you heard today. And if you would like more information, you can go to our website. There's some recordings. There's all kinds of information for you to investigate to see what we're about. But if you'd like to know what we're about on a weekly basis, please sign up for our weekly news blast that comes out on Tuesdays. You can go to unityinnaperville.org. Thank you, Mark. You can go to unityinnaperville.org and sign up for our weekly e-news, or email admin@unityinnaperville.org and ask to be added to our email list. Now let's see what's happening this week. That kind of already went over all of our a lot of our offerings, so I'll go through them quickly. We have lunch online together on Tuesdays and Thursdays in a Zoom call. It's from noon to 1. You can drop in for the full hour or just for 10 minutes, whatever you want, just to see some smiling faces like this, and come together. A lot of our offerings are on a special channel called unitycommunityconnect.com. And when you sign up and you're part of unitycommunityconnect.com, you get in, and there's a list of channels, which is where most of our programs are offered for you. So there'll be a channel for lunch together online, and when you click on it, then there's a Zoom link at the top, and you go right into the Zoom. And keep that in mind, because the rest of these are on that unitycommunity.com as well. Next is our Crafters Circle, which will meet on Friday at 6:30. This is a way to meet new friends, gain some inspiration and ideas with creative projects to share with others, have fun with other creative minds. Join them on unitycommunityconnect.com and select Crafters Circle to get into that Zoom. And next Saturday, Courageous Writers, creative and courageous people come together just to express their creativity in writing. And there's no obligation to share your writing, but it's a way for creative minds to get together and to just express themselves through the word. unitycommunityconnect.com, select on the channel for Courageous Writers, and get into the Zoom call that way. Now this one's a little different. Unity World Headquarters will be hosting a Facebook Live event to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. on Monday, January 18th at 2 p.m. The Black leaders in Unity will lead music, prayer, and inspirational messages. All are encouraged to attend. Now, this will be a Facebook Live event. You can get to it by going to our website, going on to the event calendar, and there'll be a link to that Facebook event on that calendar. Please send any event suggestions you have for 2021, and now we can include stuff like performances and plays and things like that in there, to admin@unityinnaperville.org. They'd love your input to get some fresh creative ideas to go along with the fresh creative stage, or something else on Zoom, another Zoom meeting, whatever it is. We're looking for some new ideas that will engage people and help to lift them up spiritually as well. Save the date. At the beginning of the year, we try to have a vision board workshop, and we're going to have one again. It's scheduled Saturday, February 6th, 9:30 to 12:30. Start saving those clippings and those magazines, because we're probably going to do this via Zoom. So hang on, as things start inspiring you, you get in the mail, you see in a magazine, wherever, hang on to those, and that'll be a place where you can put those to work. Check e-news or event calendar at unityinnaperville.org for additional details about events. And as Reverend Kitty mentioned earlier, we, in addition to our hearts going out to Reverend Kitty for the passing of her mother, we also had a dear member of Unity in Naperville make his transition today, this week, John Meinhardt. He was a bright spirit. His smile and his laughter was infectious, and it was always there. We will miss that terribly, but we will know that he is now celebrating spiritually. And our hearts are out for you, Kelly, my heart as well. And I was reminded when I was going to come up here and say this of that writing, Footprints in the Sand. We're in our tough times. Jesus Christ was carrying us. Well, we have the Christ presence in all of us. So please know that that Christ presence here is to carry you in any times that you need help. All right, so we're here for all of you, not just for those losses or those transitions, but for whatever struggles you may be going through as our times and things change. A reminder, today, one-on-one prayer. If you need some additional support, we have lovely prayer chaplains standing by. Email your name and phone number to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and a prayer chaplain will call you by 1 o'clock. Please put prayer on call or POC in the subject line. And then at the very end of the service, which is coming up shortly, we're going to kind of stay on, and Reverend Kitty will be up here. And she is open, and we're not going to do comments today? Okay. So today we're not going to share our comments right after the service, but we will have our after-service Zoom call. There'll be a slide up here in the end as to how to get into that. I think it's in that unitycommunityconnect.com, right? What is the channel name? Live stream chat. So that's a way where you can engage with Reverend Kitty or... I'm getting some direction here, 1 second. Excellent. The board members will be there to answer questions, and we're going to talk more about the stage. So if that excites you, if you have some ideas for it, please come. And now we have one last song, right? What are we singing, guys?
God is my source.
God is my source.
Perfect
Excellent.
song.
Yes.
God is my source.
God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. I said, God gives me everything. Oh yes, everything that I
Just what we needed, yeah? Yeah. So, beloveds, if I didn't say it earlier, thank you so much for the loving comments and cards that you've sent. We'll have an opportunity to kind of dig into that idea of transition in the next few weeks as we start a new message series next week. We're going to be talking about what staging an awakening world means to us spiritually over the next few weeks. And we'll be addressing a lot of world issues and personal issues during this process, so I hope you'll join us for that. And we really want to talk to you about the practical staging and awakening world that we just showed you from our Board of Trustees to give you a chance to ask questions and just celebrate a little bit. I haven't seen a lot of your faces for a while, so please stay after the service today. Go to unitycommunityconnect.com. Do we have a slide for that, Cindy? And into the live stream chat channel. So I'll see you there in the Zoom room. The board will be there, and we just love to see your faces this morning. But before we close, we have one last closing affirmation, and today's affirmation is actually our vision statement for Unity. And we formed this vision statement when we asked the question, what is the greatest dream, wish, or vision that we could hold for the world? If everything was perfect and all was well, what would it look like? Here's what we came up with. Let's say these words together. Centered in love, we celebrate God, expressing as peace, wisdom, and abundance in this awakening world. Let's keep holding that vision, keep doing our meditation, speaking our words, and loving from our hearts. And we cannot help but know the presence of God in our life. I love you. I bless you. I look forward to big hugs, but in the meantime, see you again soon. Unity, Community, Connect.com in the live stream chat channel next. Thank you.